The Merdani fleet emerged from hyperspace in a spectacular display that turned night to day across Earth's skies. 17 crystalline ships, each larger than Manhattan, arranged themselves in a perfect geometric pattern that astronomers immediately recognized as an impossible mathematical sequence. Across the planet, communication systems faltered, then died. Power grids flickered and went dark. In the sudden silence, humanity collectively held its breath. Commander Zelthos stood on the observation deck of his command sphere, studying the blue-green world below. His elongated fingers, each tipped with translucent claws, manipulated the holographic display showing Earth's panicked broadcasts. He watched with mild amusement as primitive aircraft scrambled uselessly toward his fleet. Standard pre-conquest behavior, he noted to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Vextil. 17 conquests, 17 identical responses. "Shall we begin the sterilization protocol?" Vextil asked, his frill extending with anticipation. "Not yet. Standard procedure requires formal surrender opportunity." Zelthos turned to his science officer. "Dr. Ixel, run emotional scans." Dr. Ixel, the smallest of the Merdani present, with 6 independently blinking eyes arranged in a circle around his cranial ridge, activated the fleet's most sophisticated technology. The emotional scanners reached down through the atmosphere, sampling the collective consciousness of humanity. The results made Ixel's eyes blink in unusual sequence, a sign of confusion among his kind. "Commander," he said hesitantly, "there's an anomaly in the readings." Zelthos moved to the scanner display. "Explain." "The fear signatures are present as expected, but they're intertwined with something else." Ixel magnified the readings. "They're afraid, certainly, but the fear doesn't dominate their emotional spectrum. There's something else, something I can't categorize." "Run the scan again," Zelthos ordered, his frill flattening against his neck, a sign of concern among the Merdani. The results were identical. "Impossible," Vextil declared. "All sentient life fears extinction. It's the universal constant." "And yet," Ixel whispered, "these humans, they're drawing strength from their fear." Zelthos activated the fleet's communication array. The Merdani broadcast their standard surrender terms in 4,712 Earth languages simultaneously. The message was simple: submit or face extinction. Every conquered species had capitulated within minutes of receiving it. The Merdani waited. 1 hour passed. Then 2. "This is unprecedented," Vextil hissed, his frill now fully extended in agitation. Finally, a response came. A single transmission on a unified frequency, originating from a hastily assembled coalition of Earth nations. The voice belonged to a young female translator who spoke with unexpected steadiness. "People of Earth, I am Dr. Maya Chen, speaking on behalf of the United Nations Emergency Response Committee. To the extraterrestrial presence currently in our orbit, we acknowledge your technological superiority. We recognize your power, but we will not surrender our home. Whatever you are, whatever you want, know this: humans have never met an enemy we couldn't eventually defeat." On his command sphere, Zelthos felt something unfamiliar prickle along his spine as he listened. The emotional scanners detected no deception in the human's voice, only resolute determination intermingled with that same puzzling emotional signature. "Your species will be the 18th to join the Merdani collective," Zelthos responded automatically. "Resistance only increases suffering." "Then we will suffer," came the calm reply. "But we will never stop fighting." Zelthos gestured for the communication to be severed. For the first time, in 12 successful conquests, he experienced the first threads of doubt. His gaze returned to the planet below, where billions of strange beings faced their possible extinction, not with paralysis, but with determination. "Prepare the first assault wave," he ordered, his voice lacking its usual certainty. "Let's see what these humans are truly made of." The Merdani War Council convened in their luminescent chamber as holographic projections of Earth's major cities hovered before them. Commander Zelthos moved his elongated fingers through the three-dimensional image of New York City, and the projection glowed red. "First target," he announced. "Standard conquest protocol." Lieutenant Vextil's frill extended with anticipation. "The primitives will break within hours." The assault began at dawn. Plasma beams sliced through Manhattan skyscrapers like incandescent knives through paper. Gravity distortion fields collapsed bridges and tunnels. Murdani dropships deposited sleek combat units throughout the city. In the command sphere, Zelthos watched through the eyes of his soldiers, expecting what they'd seen on dozens of worlds. Mass panic, trampling, societal collapse. Instead, they witnessed something unprecedented. In flooded subway tunnels, office workers formed human chains to guide children to safety. At Mount Sinai Hospital, doctors continued surgeries by flashlight as the building crumbled around them. When a Murdani fighter crashed in Central Park, civilians swarmed the wreckage, not to flee, but to capture the technology. Lieutenant Vextil slammed his tentacled appendage against the control panel. "This is wrong. They should be catatonic with fear by now." On street corners, National Guard units adapted with stunning speed. After witnessing one alien weapons effect, they adjusted tactics, using subways and sewers to stage ambushes. A teenager with a smartphone captured footage of a Murdani soldier's suit capabilities, uploaded it, and within 20 minutes, military units worldwide were exploiting the discovered weaknesses. "They're learning," Dr. Ixel observed, his 6 eyes blinking in complex patterns. "Not just reacting, analyzing, adapting." Zelthos expanded the tactical display to Moscow, then Beijing, then London. In each city, the pattern repeated, devastating initial strikes followed by unexpectedly organized resistance. Human casualties were enormous. Nearly 2 million dead in the first 12 hours, but the expected surrender never came. "Intensify the assault," Vextil demanded. "Show no mercy." By nightfall, the impossible had happened. 37 Murdani ships had been downed by what should have been primitive defenses. A simple electromagnetic pulse weapon, hastily adapted after studying a captured alien rifle, had proven devastatingly effective against the Murdani neural interfaces. "Bombard them from orbit," Vextil demanded in the post-attack briefing. "End this resistance now." Zelthos hesitated, watching footage of a human mother carrying her dead child past a Murdani wreckage. Instead of cowering, she stopped, picked up a piece of alien metal, and walked purposefully away. "No," he replied. "There's something happening here we need to understand." "Understanding prey is not our protocol," Vextil countered, his bioluminescent markings pulsing with aggression. "These are not like the others," Zelthos insisted, turning to Dr. Ixel. "What are we missing about these humans?" The scientist's voice trembled slightly. "Their neural responses to threat stimuli are unique. They're not just reacting to fear, Commander. They're transmuting it into something else." "Explain," Zelthos demanded. Ixel displayed scans of human brains during the attack. In other species, fear activates paralysis responses or uncoordinated escape behaviors. In humans, fear triggers heightened awareness, pattern recognition, even creativity. And there's something else. They communicate fear differently. The display showed humans embracing, supporting wounded companions, sacrificing themselves for others. They use social bonds to process fear collectively without losing individual function, Ixel continued. "It's an evolutionary adaptation we've never encountered." Vextil dismissed the analysis with a contemptuous gesture. "Irrelevant. They're still primitive, still mortal." "Yet they'd downed 37 ships," Zelthos noted quietly. As night fell over Earth's devastated cities, Murdani sensors detected something unexpected. Humans were already rebuilding. Emergency services functioned with improvised efficiency. Captured alien technology was being transported to research facilities. In the darkness of his private chamber, Commander Zelthos reviewed the day's casualties. For the first time in his conquest career, Merdani losses exceeded acceptable parameters. More disturbing was the sensation growing within him, an emotional response his species had engineered out of their collective consciousness generations ago. Doubt. 3 months into the invasion, Dr. Elena Sharova hadn't slept in 36 hours. The abandoned salt mine in Siberia, now Earth's largest underground research facility, hummed with activity as scientists from 27 nations worked side by side. Former enemies shared coffee and breakthroughs in equal measure. "It's beautiful," she whispered, examining the recovered Merdani shield generator under an electron microscope. The crystalline lattice structure shifted and adapted in response to energy, almost like a living thing. Across the table, Colonel Jackson Way, once her rival in international weapons development, pointed to a pattern in the crystal. There, the resonance frequency creates a feedback loop. Their eyes met with shared realization. If we disrupt that, we can collapse their entire defense system, he finished. The colonel moved to a terminal, plotting the frequency pattern. They're vulnerable at 15.8 terahertz. We could reconfigure microwave emitters using modified cell tower infrastructure. Elena completed his thought. Global coverage within days. 3 levels below, technicians were already mass-producing modified weapons based on earlier discoveries. What had taken the Merdani centuries to develop, humanity was reverse engineering in weeks. Above ground, the war intensified. The Merdani had established bases in strategic locations, but their occupation was constantly harassed. Grainy footage from Milan showed fashion designers creating reflective fabrics that confused alien targeting systems. From South Africa came reports that diamond miners had discovered certain sonic frequencies could disrupt Merdani communications. Aboard the command ship, Dr. Ixel presented his findings to an increasingly agitated Commander Zelphos. "Impossible," Zelphos growled, reviewing the data. "No species adapts this quickly." The holographic display showed human technological progress over the past 3 months, an almost vertical trajectory. "It's their relationship with fear," Ixel explained, projecting neural scans of captured humans. "Look at these pathways. When threatened, their brains don't shut down. They accelerate. Fear triggers innovation, cooperation, even creativity. A biological impossibility," Zelphos insisted. And yet, Ixel gestured to a live feed where humans had successfully reconfigured a downed Merdani ship to fly with Earth technology. "They're doing it." The feed switched to a transmission intercepted from human communications. A female scientist, the one they now knew as Dr. Sharova, addressing military leaders. "The Merdani don't understand human fear," she explained. "In their evolutionary history, fear is purely debilitating. Their collective consciousness evolved to suppress it entirely. But for us," she projected footage of parents shielding children during attacks, scientists working through bombardments, strangers risking lives for one another. "Fear is the catalyst that has driven every major human advancement. We don't freeze, we fight. We don't collapse, we create." The transmission continued. Colonel Way added, "And now, for the first time in their conquest history, the Merdani are about to experience something they've never known." "What's that?" asked a general. Way's smile was grim as he activated a prototype device. "Vulnerability." Zelphos terminated the feed, his frill flattening with concern. "How long until the reinforcement fleet arrives?" 6 months at minimum," Ixel replied. "High Command is displeased with our progress reports." Zelphos moved to the observation window, watching Earth's night side rotate beneath them. Despite 3 months of bombardment, lights still glimmered across the continents, not just surviving, but persisting, adapting, fighting back. "They won't wait 6 months, he murmured. "Sir, the humans, they're planning something." He turned to his science officer. "What would you do if you were them?" Ixel's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "I would use our own technology against us." As if in response, alarms blared throughout the ship. The tactical display showed simultaneous attacks on Merdani installations across Earth, using weapons that emitted the precise frequency Dr. Sharovat had discovered. Watching their shields fail, Zelthos felt something beyond doubt now, something dangerously close to fear. Operation Prometheus began at dawn. Across 6 continents, the signal propagated through repurposed Merdani communication relays, a resonance frequency that caused their shield systems to falter for precisely 9.2 seconds. In those seconds, humanity struck. From the ruins of Rio, a squadron of fighters, cobbled together from F-35 frames and Merdani propulsion systems, streaked toward the Amazon Basin command post. Their pilots were teenagers who grew up on flight simulators, now flying real ships guided by veteran commanders. "Remember," Colonel Wei's voice crackled over comms, "we only need to hit the central node. The resonance will cascade." Captain Sofia Mendes, formerly Brazil's youngest commercial pilot, now led the squadron toward the crystalline structure that dominated the cleared rainforest. At 19, she had already survived 2 Merdani bombardments. Shield disruption in 3, 2, 1. The targeting computer flashed green as the alien defensive screen flickered. Strike now. In the North Sea, submarines retrofitted with alien sonar technology surfaced directly beneath Merdani water extraction plants. Navy SEALs, equipped with reverse-engineered gravity manipulators, walked up vertical walls to plant charges at structural weak points identified by architectural students. Commander Zelthos watched in horror as 17 installations fell simultaneously. The tactical display showed impossible coordination across Earth's fragmented geography. More disturbing, the human casualties. At a critical junction in Kenya, farmers drove explosive-laden trucks directly into Merdani force fields, knowing they'll die but weakening the barrier enough for the military team behind them to breach. "They sacrifice individuals willingly," Zelthos whispered, unable to comprehend. In Merdani society, connected by their hive mind network, the loss of any member caused psychic pain to all. The concept of willing sacrifice was incomprehensible. "It's not just sacrifice," Dr. Ixel observed, analyzing the footage. "Look at their expressions." He zoomed in on the face of a human soldier charging a Merdani position. Terror and determination, simultaneously. They feel the fear completely, yet act despite it. The Merdani command ship rocked as human fighters, using the shield disruption frequency, launched precision strikes against its propulsion systems. Emergency klaxons wailed. "Return fire," Lieutenant Vextil demanded. "Targeting systems compromised," the weapons officer reported. "They've uploaded a virus through our own communication channels." In his private chamber, Dr. Ixel reviewed footage of human children evacuating through tunnels beneath Moscow, guided by teachers who stayed behind to collapse passages after them, knowing they wouldn't escape. "Fascinating," he murmured. "Their individualism, what we considered their weakness, allows them to make strategic sacrifices we cannot." The Merdani High Command's holographic projection appeared in Zelthos's chamber, their collective consciousness manifesting as a shifting, crystalline form. "This resistance is unprecedented." They spoke in unison. "Explain your failure." Zelthos struggled to find words. "These humans, they're not like others. Fear strengthens them." Impossible. Fear is universal. It paralyzes. It destroys. Not for them. Zelthos found himself defending humans. They use it. They transform it. "Your prolonged exposure to humans has contaminated your judgment," the High Command declared. "Reinforcements will arrive within their month cycle. You will be reassigned for psychic cleansing." After the transmission ended, Zelthos found himself doing something unprecedented for a Merdani commander, questioning the collective wisdom of his species. Drawn to the observation deck, he watched Earth's night side, where fires from the day's battles still burned. And yet, already, humans moved among the ruins, rebuilding. Below, in what remained of Paris, a child placed flowers on a soldier's grave, then joined adults clearing rubble from a hospital entrance. Birth and death, grief and hope, fear and courage, all existing simultaneously. A strange thought entered Zelphos's mind. What if we're wrong about them? What if we're wrong about ourselves? The Murdani soldier convulsed in the containment chamber, all four limbs thrashing against restraints. Dr. Sharova observed through reinforced glass, wincing at the creature's distress. Another failure, she noted as medical staff sedated the alien. That's the 17th subject who can't process the emotional input. 6 months into the conflict, Project Mirror had taken over the underground levels of CERN. Here, captured Murdani combatants were exposed to controlled doses of human emotional states, their telepathic biology studied in real time. Colonel Wei entered, carrying new neural mapping results. The breakthrough isn't coming from the expected source, he said, excitement evident despite his exhaustion. It's not our military determination or courage they can't handle. It's this. He played footage from a recorder implanted in a Murdani helmet. A squad of aliens cornered a young mother and her children in a collapsed apartment building. As they raised weapons, she stood before her children, radiating not just fear, but something else, love intertwined with absolute resolution. The Murdani in the footage physically recoiled, their movements becoming erratic. 2 dropped their weapons and fled. 1 collapsed entirely. Their telepathic system evolved to share tactical information and maintain collective resolve, Wei explained. But when exposed to complex human emotional states, particularly our ability to feel fear and love simultaneously, to experience terror yet act with courage, their neural networks overload. Dr. Sharova studied the brain scans. It's like introducing a paradox into a logical system. They can't reconcile the contradictions. Exactly. And if we could broadcast these emotional states directly into their telepathic frequency, we create a fleet-wide disruption. In orbit, the Murdani fleet faced unprecedented crisis. Commander Zelphos reviewed reports of troops abandoning posts, of ships going silent, of disturbing behavioral anomalies spreading like contagion. It's their emotions, Dr. Ixel explained, displaying brain scans of affected soldiers. Human emotional complexity is infecting our neural network like a virus. How? Zelphos demanded. Our telepathic system evolved in emotional simplicity, singular purpose, shared consciousness. But humans? Ixel struggled for words. They contain contradictions. They fear death yet risk it willingly. They hate war yet excel at it. They are individuals yet function collectively. These paradoxes, when absorbed through our network, create cognitive dissonance we cannot process. In the commander's private quarters, the unauthorized communication channel activated. Dr. Sharova's hologram appeared, her expression cautious but determined. Commander, our latest intelligence suggests your reinforcements will arrive within the week. We know you've been protecting research facilities and civilian evacuation routes. That suggests you're different from your kind. Zelphos should report this communication, should never respond to an enemy. Instead, he asked the question that had haunted him. How do you do it? How do you transform fear into strength? Her answer was simple. We don't transform it. We accept it. Fear reminds us what matters, what we love, what we'll die to protect. The concept was so alien to Zelphos's hive mind experience that he physically staggered. In that moment, something unprecedented happened. A Murdani commander disconnected voluntarily from the collective consciousness, choosing individual thought over shared certainty. Meanwhile, at CERN, Dr. Sharova and Colonel Wei activated Project Mirror's global transmitters. Across Earth, volunteers, children, parents, artists, soldiers, connected to devices that amplified their emotional states directly into the Murdani telepathic frequency. In Paris, a cellist played amid ruins, broadcasting the bittersweet mixture of grief and beauty. In Tokyo, monks projected serene acceptance alongside mortal fear. From Mumbai, the complex emotional tapestry of a wedding celebration held in a bomb shelter, joy amidst terror, hope despite destruction. In orbit, alien ships began to drift aimlessly as their crews, overwhelmed by the complexity of human emotion, lost cohesion. For a species that had never known true individuality, the sudden influx of human emotional range, fear and hope intertwined, courage born from terror, sacrifice driven by love, created a psychic tsunami. The war entered a new phase, one where humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology, but the very emotional complexity the Merdani once considered primitive. Lightning cascaded between Merdani vessels as the fleet tore itself apart. Ship-to-ship weapons, never designed for use against their own kind, flashed across the void. From the ISS observation module, astronauts recorded the impossible, an alien armada at war with itself. On the command ship, chaos reigned. Lieutenant Vextil, his exoskeleton enhanced with combat modifications, led a contingent of loyal soldiers toward the bridge. Behind sealed doors, Commander Zelphos and his remaining officers barricaded themselves with emergency force fields. The reinforcements arrive tomorrow. Vextil's voice boomed through ship-wide communications. "You've been contaminated by human emotionalism, Commander. This planet must be cleansed immediately." Zelphos, watching tactical displays showing nearly 40% of his fleet retreating to Saturn's rings, knew what was happening. The telepathic cohesion that had bound Merdani society for millennia was unraveling. Ships whose crews experienced too much exposure to human emotions had disconnected from the collective, some fleeing, others fighting those who remained loyal. "You don't understand what we're facing," Zelphos responded. "These humans, they're not just another conquest. They're something we've never encountered." In his private laboratory, Dr. Ixel hurriedly downloaded his research to a secure crystal. His discovery must reach Earth, even if he didn't survive. The data confirmed what he'd suspected. The Merdani collective consciousness evolved in an environment without predators, where cooperation was the only survival strategy. They never developed mechanisms to process complex emotional contradictions because they never needed to. In a hidden bunker beneath the Himalayas, Dr. Sharova presented her findings to Earth's unified command. "The Merdani telepathic network," she explained, displaying a holographic model, functions through quantum entanglement at the neural level. Each Merdani exists simultaneously as an individual and as part of their collective. But she highlighted pathways in the alien neural structure. They never evolved to process contradictory emotional states. "Unlike humans," Colonel Wei added, "who live with contradictions constantly. We fear death yet accept its inevitability. We crave peace yet prepare for war. We value the individual yet sacrifice for the collective." Dr. Sharova nodded. "Exactly. The Merdani developed telepathy to share simple emotional states, unity, purpose, direction. But our complex emotional responses, especially how we can feel fear yet act with courage, it's like introducing a self-replicating paradox into their system. So Project Mirror is working," General Okonkwo stated, studying the orbital imagery of the fractured alien fleet. "Yes, but not quickly enough," Wei responded. "Our intelligence indicates their reinforcements arrive tomorrow. A fleet 3 times larger than the original invasion force." In a laboratory nearby, captured Merdani technology had been repurposed into humanity's most ambitious countermeasure, Project Umbra. The global network of transmitters, once used for Earth's satellite communications, now modified with alien tech to broadcast directly into the Merdani telepathic frequency. "When we activate this," Dr. Sharova explained, "every human emotional state, our fears, our hopes, our contradictions, our capacity to feel terror yet act with resolve, will flood their network simultaneously. A telepathic EMP," Wei translated for the military leaders. On the command ship, the doors to the bridge burst open. Vextil entered, weapon raised. "For the future of our species," he declared, "I relieve you of command." Zelphos, standing before the viewscreen showing Earth's blue expanse, didn't resist. Our species has no future if we cannot evolve. Vextil. These humans, they've shown me something profound. Fear needn't be our enemy. It can be our teacher. Treasonous philosophy. Vextil spat. You've been corrupted. No, Zelthos said quietly. For the first time in my existence, I'm thinking as an individual, not just as a component of our collective. He looked at the planet below. And I'm afraid of what we're about to lose by destroying them. The word afraid caused visible distress among the loyal Merdani soldiers. In their civilization, to admit fear was to admit weakness, a concept so foreign that many physically recoiled. As Vextil raised his weapon to execute Zelthos, Earth vanished from the view screen, replaced by a strange pattern of light. Project Umbra activating. The signal penetrated every Merdani mind, carrying with it the full spectrum of human emotional experience. The emergency shuttle breached Earth's atmosphere, trailing plasma as its damaged systems struggled to maintain trajectory. Inside, Commander Zelthos and Dr. Ixel braced for impact, the Himalayan mountains rushing toward them. When a crash came, it was surprisingly gentle, their descent slowed by an invisible force. Gravity manipulation, Dr. Sharova explained as they were extracted from the wreckage. Your technology, our implementation. In a fortified bunker, with armed guards maintaining a wary distance, Zelthos revealed the truth that had been hidden even from most Merdani. Our expansion isn't merely conquest, he explained, activating a holographic projection from his neural implant. It showed Merdani DNA structures deteriorating over generations. Our telepathic evolution has created a fatal flaw. Each generation, our neural pathways become more integrated with the collective, less capable of individual function. The hologram shifted to show 17 conquered worlds and the genetic material harvested from each species. We assimilate traits from conquered species, integrating them into our own genome to counteract the degradation. Dr. Ixel continued, but it's only delayed the inevitable. Until now. A hologram shifted to human neural scans, highlighting pathways that process fear, courage, love, and sacrifice, often simultaneously. Your species is unique, Zelthos said. Your brains can hold contradictory emotions without collapse. You can fear and yet act with courage, mourn and yet continue, hate and yet show mercy. Dr. Sharova studied the projections. You need our neurological adaptability to save your species. Yes, Zelthos admitted. The High Command authorized Earth's destruction when my reports showed your resistance, but some of us recognize your value. Your emotional complexity could be our salvation. Colonel Wei's expression hardened. So we should surrender our genetic material to save the species trying to exterminate us. No, Zelthos replied. I'm proposing alliance, co-evolution. Your scientists working with ours to create a path forward that preserves both species. Before negotiations could continue, alarms blared throughout the facility. Satellite imagery showed the Merdoni reinforcement fleet arriving, 3 times larger than the original invasion force. At its center, a planet-killer weapon capable of shattering Earth's crust. Vextil, Zelthos explained grimly. He's taken command of the Loyalist faction. On view screens throughout the bunker, Vextil's transmission appeared. His once smooth carapace now bore ritualistic scarification, marks of total devotion to the Merdani collective. Commander Zelthos has been declared a biological aberration, he announced to Earth's leaders. His neural patterns show corruption from human emotional contagion. Your species represents an evolutionary threat to our collective. Surrender him and accept sterilization protocols, or face extinction. The transmission ended, leaving stunned silence in the bunker. What's a sterilization protocol? General Okonkwo asked. They'll preserve human biological samples for study, Zelthos explained, but eliminate all living individuals to prevent further emotional contagion. How long until they can deploy the planet killer? Dr. Sharova asked. 12 hours, Ixel answered. They'll position optimally before firing. Colonel Way accessed tactical displays. Our remaining defenses can't touch a fleet that size. There's another way, Dr. Sharova said quietly. She turned to Zelphos. Project Umbra disrupted your fleet, but your reinforcements will be prepared for it. Unless. Understanding dawned in Zelphos's alien features. Unless the emotional signature comes not from humans, but from one of their own. She nodded. You've experienced individual thought, individual emotion. You've felt fear and recognized its value. If we broadcast your experience directly to the fleet, it would be like introducing a virus coded in their native language. Ixal interjected. They would have no defense. Zelphos stared at the tactical display showing Earth's remaining defenses mobilizing, a hopeless effort against the overwhelming force arriving. The sensation of fear, once alien to him, now flowed freely through his disconnected consciousness. Fear not for himself, but for what would be lost. Human potential, human complexity, the strange beauty of their contradictory nature. I'll do it, he said, but you should know what this means. If I succeed, the Murdani as a collective consciousness may cease to exist. I will be destroying the very thing I was born to serve. Dr. Sharova placed her hand on the alien commander's arm, the first direct contact between their species. No, she said gently. You'll be saving your people from an evolutionary dead end. Sometimes survival requires transformation. The planet killer's energy core pulsed with gathering power, visible even from Earth's surface as a sulfurous green glow emerging from beneath the massive ship. In command centers worldwide, countdown clocks ticked toward humanity's extinction. 12 minutes remained. Aboard the vessel, Vextil struggled against a new version of Project Umbra's influence, fighting to maintain connection with the collective consciousness that had defined his existence. Around him, crew members collapsed, overwhelmed by something more disruptive than human emotions, the experience of a fellow Murdani embracing individuality. Focus, he commanded, but his voice lacked the harmonic resonance that once carried collective authority. Remember the directives. But the directives, once absolute, now seemed questionable to those experiencing Zelphos's memories. A weapons officer stared at her control panel, suddenly wondering why destruction was necessary when cooperation might be possible. In the Himalayan bunker, Dr. Sharova monitored Zelphos's neural activity as his consciousness was broadcast through Project Umbra. The commander lay in a modified Murdani neural interface, his bioluminescent markings pulsing erratically. His vital signs are destabilizing, Dr. Ixal warned. The strain of broadcasting individual consciousness across a telepathic network designed for collectivity, it could be fatal. Can we stop the transmission? Colonel Way asked. If we do, Earth dies, Sharova replied, her hand resting on Zelphos's arm. He knows the risk. On the view screen, satellite imagery showed the first effects. Murdani ships drifted from formation, their precise geometric patterns dissolving. Some vessels turned away from Earth entirely. Others seemed to move without purpose, like sleepwalkers awakening. But the planet killer continued its approach, its weapon maw beginning to open. It's not enough, General Okonkwo declared. We need to launch everything we have at that main ship. Earth's last defenders, a motley collection of retrofitted fighters and captured Murdani vessels, accelerated toward the massive ship. The battle seemed hopeless. Even with shield disruption technology, they were vastly outgunned. Then something unprecedented appeared on tracking systems. Murdani ships from Zelphos's fractured fleet, long thought retreated to Saturn, emerged from behind Earth's moon. Not fleeing, but advancing, alongside human forces. This is Commander Theraxis, came a Murdani voice over shared communications. Former Fleet Scientific Division. We stand with Earth. The combined human Murdani force struck the planet killer from multiple vectors. The battle was brutal, losses catastrophic on both sides. But for the first time, Murdani fought alongside humans, experiencing not just individualized thought, but cooperative action with another species. On the planet killer's bridge, Vextil watched his certainty crumble as more ships defected. With supreme effort, he activated the final firing sequence manually. The weapon's maw opened completely, revealing the singularity generator that would crack Earth's crust. In that moment, Colonel Weiss' fighter, carrying a modified version of the shield disruptor, reached the opening weapon maw. The resulting explosion cascaded through the massive vessel's power core, creating a chain reaction that tore the ship apart from within. Vextil, watching his certainty and his ship disintegrate around him, experienced something no Merdani had known for millennia: a truly personal death, disconnected from the collective. In his final moments of consciousness, he felt not the comforting chorus of shared minds, but the stark clarity of individual existence, and with it, a flicker of understanding about what humans had always known: that mortality gives meaning, that limitation creates purpose, that fear illuminates love. The planet killer exploded in a spectacular display that outshined the sun. Across Earth, people emerged from shelters to witness the light, a second dawn breaking across the sky. In the Himalayan bunker, Zelthos's vital signs stabilized. His eyes opened, different somehow, more focused, more present, more individual. "Is it done?" he asked. Dr. Sharova nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Earth is safe. And your people, they're changing." "Not just mine," he replied, looking at the humans gathered around him. "All of us." 3 months later, as Earth began rebuilding, a new interstellar alliance formed, one based not on conquest, but on the exchange of distinctly different evolutionary approaches to survival. The stars, once threatening, now beckoned with possibility. And the fear that both species once fled from different directions became the compass guiding them forward together, into a future neither could have imagined alone.